Hi there, this is Elena with Black Sheep 303 Creative, and my project today is for the Crazy for Challenges Saturday Sketch Challenge, and I'm using Elizabeth Craft Design Sailor's Life stamps, dies, and paper, along with a few other things, to make this cute card. So I'm stamping the Sailor's Life stamps onto some Bristol smooth cardstock using VersaFine Onyx black ink. I'm going to stamp the bear and the boat and then the shark, and I will be coloring them with my Zig Clean Color Real Brush markers. So to start off with, I want to make the shark look like a great white shark. So I give him a white belly, and now I'm just base coating him in 91 light gray. And then I'm going to add a little bit of shading with 92 blue gray, kind of like where it seems like he would have shading, sort of like under his back fin, in front of that fin that goes behind his body, along his belly a little bit, up by his pectoral fin, under his mouth, on both sort of edges. And then I'm going to blend this out with my 91 light gray. And I'm not going to be super concerned about, I don't know, smoothing him out perfectly. I generally like texture anyway, and I think, you know, sharks are not super perfect. They often have like scars or, you know, sort of streaky marks on them. So I kind of was going for that feel a little bit with the coloring and leaving it somewhat textured, I guess I would say, not super smooth, in other words. So, you know, I'm not making sure that I completely color in every little bit to make it all smooth and perfect. But I like that. That's kind of my style. And so that's really it for the shark. He's fairly simple coloring. The bear, on the other hand, is a little more complicated. So for the boat, I am starting off with Cornflower Blue 37 and just base coloring that in. And then I'm going to use some 36 light blue on the flag and the ring buoy on the boat. Just, you know, this is pretty easy coloring, no fancy shading. Now the bear's a little more complicated. His shirt is wine red, and so I'm coloring in the stripes on his shirt and then the sleeves. The stripes are really skinny, so I had to really use my tip of my brush point on this pen, and even then it wasn't perfect, but pretty close. That's what I love these zigs for. And so for the bear's fur, I'm base coating him in 64 oatmeal, probably my favorite sort of light tan color out of all the colors. And then I'm going to add a little bit of shading around his face and his neck and his paws with 67 mustard, and a little bit in his ears. And then I'm going to blend that out again with the 64 oatmeal. And then I'm going to add a little bit of shading to the top of his hat with the 91 light gray, and that's when I decided to add a little more light gray to his face, just to kind of darken down some of the shadows. And then I just reinforced the outer stitched edge with the 67 mustard. And that's pretty much it for him. Super cute. And then I wanted to add a little detail to the stitching on the flag, so I grabbed the 42 turquoise green and went around that and then blended it a little bit with the light blue. And then for my flagpole, I'm going to use 65 mid brown. So you can see there isn't a whole lot of super fancy shading going on or anything. It's fairly straightforward as far as the coloring goes. And now I wanted to darken down my boat. So I grabbed the 30 blue, and I'm kind of adding shadow under the, I don't know, what is that, like the edge, the rim, the top edge of the boat. And then I kind of filled in a lot of it just to darken it down a little bit. And I'm just touching up the ring buoy. And again, blending a tiny bit with that cornflower blue. And then I'm going to reinforce the shading with the turquoise green on the flag, just a touch. And then I'm going to add some shadow under the top edge of the boat with 92 blue gray. And then I'll wind up taking my 91 light gray and adding a little shadow to the bottom of that white railing piece, I guess it is. And that's the coloring on these guys. And then I realized I needed the palm tree. So I decided to stamp the palm tree with my Misty. Not sure why I used the Misty this time, but I did. And so now I have to explain that my camera is dying a slow and painful death. So all of the coloring on the palm tree is super blurry, and I apologize for that. But I did want to kind of include two areas. So this is the first one where I've super slowed it down. Where I'm just drawing in a beach basically around the palm tree with the 64 oatmeal. largely to make the saying, which is love you to the beach and back, makes some sense. I felt like I needed to have a beach somewhere on the card in order for that sentiment to work. And then I colored the rest of the trees the same way I colored the shark and the bear. And now I'm just doing the sky. So how I do skies a lot with zigs is I just kind of scribble randomly on with the 36 light blue, and then I blend it out with some water. And that's how I get kind of like a modelly sky. And so I did want to include those parts. So I apologize for the blurriness, but hopefully you got the feel. Okay, so I'm stamping that sentiment, love you to the beach back, from the Elizabeth Craft Design Summer Sentiment stamp set onto some 85-pound white soft finish cardstock using VersaFine Onyx black ink. It is if you haven't used the Elizabeth Craft Design soft finish cardstock, it's got a gorgeous texture to it, so it's really beautiful. And this is a 100-pound white soft finish cardstock cut to it's a 5x5 inch card base, and then this is a 5x5 inch piece of pattern paper. This is about a 6-inch long piece of like stripes that come in the pattern paper, and then I cut that piece to 3x2, and then I just cut the waves freehand. And this is the pattern paper set that it all comes from. So it's the Moda Scrap Sailor's Life pattern paper. So super cute, coordinates great with the stamps. The sentiment I cut out in an oval shape using my scan and cut, and then I die cut out the shark and the bear using the matching dies from the stamp set. And then I have the palm tree cut out using the Stitch Circles dies. It's the third largest or smallest die in the Stitch Circles die set from Elizabeth Craft Designs, and that white piece of paper is cut to 3x3.5 inches so that the waves will fit, and I do have to trim it down a little bit, which I will do. And then I have 3 small turquoisey sequins that coordinate well with the darkest stripe in the paper. So to assemble everything, I've used Elizabeth Craft Designs double-sided adhesive tape, and this is 10mm, which is a good size for like the larger pieces. And I'm just going to adhere this down to the front of the 5x5 card base. And then I'm going to kind of adhere stuff to the white. So the bear has 3mm adhesive tape on the back, and he's going to get tucked behind the waves in the upper left corner of that white piece. And then the waves have some 6mm clear double-sided adhesive tape on them, I think. And that will be adhered to the bottom edge. And now I'm just kind of figuring out the placement with the sketch there for a second for the stripe. And so that's going on the sort of the lower third. And then I'm going to trim off the excess. And then I'm going to sort of place everything else. And you'll get sort of a feel of where everything's going to wind up. So I'm going to adhere the rest of these pieces down, and they have a combination of 6mm clear double-sided adhesive tape or 3mm depending on the size of the piece. And I'm going to kind of adhere it down about like that. So I won't show you all that. That might get a little boring. So most of it's adhered down now, and the shark is my last piece, and he's got 3mm adhesive tape on him, so he's going to go overlapping the sentiment in the lower part. And now as one of my final touches, I am adding these little sequins to the upper left corner in a straight line using Ranger Multimedia Matte Adhesive. You know, I wanted to get them pretty straight to kind of pull that color that's sort of the darker turquoisey color, even though it looks really blue here, into the upper part from the lower part of the stripe. And now I'm adding black glaze pen to the shark's eyes, and I will also add it to the bear's eyes, just to give them a little extra twinkle. And that is the completed project. So there you see the sketch on the right, which was the challenge. It is the challenge for today. And there's my version of that sketch. So I hope you liked the project. I thought it turned out pretty cute. I especially think that those Sailor's Life dies and the coordinating paper is a really easy way to make some cute cards for boys. And I know we often struggle with more masculine cards, so this would be great for that. Thanks so much for watching. If you liked the video, please give me a thumbs up and leave me a comment. I'd love to hear from you. As always, supplies are linked in the video description and over on my blog. And here are 2 more videos I have done this month for the Crazy for Challenges blog, so you could check those out if you're interested. Thanks so much. Have an amazing day.